It's true. Glen B. Yo. Yeah. Glen B. Man. Look. Knowledge is a key, no doubt. See what you find when you open your mind. Quote everything that a brother tells you. I'll show you the way if you don't know where to go. Approaching you as a friend and not a foe. I'm telling you, when you find out what blow your mind out. Make you sign out of the nonsense that you process in the process of being legally blind or ignorant. Pay attention to the messages they're giving us. The views from the 246. The jig is up. Yeah, the jig is up. Views from the 246. The jig is up. The jig is up. The jig is up.
Hey, we're back with you. It's the Glen B Show. In with you from Holo Studios, St. James. We have in-house, we have the man Xavier trapping us as we speak. We have the man Ryan Judah, and we have Cici, a beautiful, beautiful young lady in with us today. She's a goddess, she's a mother. She's here to let us know exactly, her strongest point. She's gonna help us well, basically what I'm trying to say is that she's gonna help us guys understand the world that we're living in, because from a female perspective right now, it's very important that we understand the balance, that there's a balance in the universe. And for me right now, I see there's a lot of confusion on the planet. There's a lot of wars, there's rumors of wars. Everything that was prophesied biblically, if you're a Bible person, you're hearing it. A lot of prophecy from, if you're Islamist, you're gonna hear a lot of prophecy from Quran. Whatever, you're seeing it right now, manifesting right now, and a lot of us are feeling these energies in the atmosphere. I find that a lot of the sisters that I speak to, they're the ones that are actually picking up the frequency like antenna, they're picking it up, and they're the ones that I'm seeing transforming and renewing themselves and becoming new again, more so than the guys, Ryan. I'm finding that more the ladies are starting to be more conscious. I'm seeing a very, and then we met Cici.
Yeah.
And when I met Cici, it was amazing to meet in these times, especially now, a woman, a strong black conscious woman that is actually going after recovering the Asian knowledge and living it. Just not just to hoard it. She's not hoarding it. She's not just for curiosity. She's not just want to be in the do. She's not, she doesn't want to just be heard. This sister is actually living. She's putting it all into practice. You know what I mean? And you see, you can talk to us. See, tell us about what drove you there as a young lady in this time.
I guess for me it was getting to know myself, wanting to really get to know myself, and wanting to be happy, because I really feel like people they're just existing. People aren't living their lives. They're going through an existence which is not about freedom, it's not about living your dreams, it's not about really and truly being happy, it's not about giving back, it's not about love. So for me, I wanted to live an authentic life. I didn't want to live a life that was based on other people's expectations. I truly wanted to be happy. So turning inward,
was it easy?
No, because it was brought about by a lot of pain. But a diamond, how a diamond is formed.
Yeah, it's forged.
A diamond has to go through a lot of pressure in order to become a diamond, that piece of gold. So I think that happened for me.
So okay, when you were going through these pressures, right?
Throughout my life, by the way.
Okay. What did you use? Like, what tools did you use to actually transform and strengthen yourself? Because I know it's not easy when your mind's playing games. Especially right now, there's a lot of mind traps, and there's a lot of distractions, and there's a lot of even alchemy. People don't realize we talk about wizards and magicians and witches and warlocks, but people always think of a cauldron with a frog. You're throwing a frog, you're throwing a snake, you're throwing some devil's hornweed, but they don't realize that this alchemy happens in electricity through your house. If I can change your electronic device, if I can put it in your wall. Right now, I read this article about these smart meters. Actually, recently I've been talking about the smart meters, and people talking about lead in the water and mercury, but it's simple common sense. These machines work with radio frequency, and radio frequency has a radiation attached to it, and the water is very sensitive to frequency.
And energy in general.
And if you put frequencies around water, and the frequencies aren't complementing harmony, it's going to offset the water. So a lot of people need to understand that it might sound far-fetched and it might sound scientific. We call it not scientific. It might sound futuristic or some kind of crazy
metaphysical.
Something out of it. But simple as it sounds, it says that anxiety, sleeplessness, illness, cancer, restlessness, forgetfulness. All of this comes from drinking water that has passed through that particular metering system. Even the smart meters on the house apparently has the same very damaging effect on your molecular structure because they alter the frequencies in your house. I mean, to some people it's insignificant. Who cares until they're ill? I find that when most people finally find themselves in the bed, then everything, they don't want to smell certain perfumes, they don't want to smell certain, you can't play certain levels of music around them, But so all of that said, I want to know from you, what advice, CC, would you give a lot of the brothers and sisters out there today that are struggling, trying to find their balance? Right now they're distracted with these festivals and the lewdness and the nudeness and the alcohol and everything that's being pushed in our society without any thought. What are your views on that?
My views are to turn inward. That's something I always would tell people, because there's a lot of knowledge out there, and the more knowledge you get, the more you realize you do not know. But at the end of the day, your knowledge about yourself, not yourself based on the conditioning that you would have gotten as a child, not based on society, yourself beyond those things, yourself as in your spirit, because your body is not who you are. The conditioning that you've gotten from your parents and from society is not who you truly are.
Right.
You understand? And I find things like that really make people unhappy. They're unhappy and they don't realize how out of balance they are. And if you're out of balance, you're how can I explain it? But just to turn inward, really try to be authentic, be honest with yourself. You need to learn to accept and realize certain things about yourself, and forgive yourself. And when you can do that, you tend to have a lot more compassion towards other people, because you realize everybody is living a battle, is going through, suffering just as you are, and it helps you to be a lot more compassionate towards other people.
Yeah.
And I just think that when you start to look inside and realize, I behave this way because I grew up in this household. So other people behave this way because, whatever experiences they would have had. So then you start to look at society. Well, this is why society is this way, because this is what's happening. So then you start to question, well, why is society this way?
Yeah.
It's like always asking why. You keep pushing and pushing to get to the root of the problem, not just looking at, I want to gain knowledge, which is fine, but you always have to keep asking why. Always try to get to the root of the problem. So then you start to realize, okay, there's certain mechanisms in place that, we live in a matrix. We really do.
Yes, it's
and
true.
You start to realize it, and you start to, when you love yourself, you don't want to live in that matrix. You don't, because it's so self-destructive. It's not even funny. So I think that's it from me,
But what would you suggest, CC? I mean, because for you've obviously found yourself under the pressure, and because of that, you seek a way to get yourself from under the foot, under the rock, or out of the pressure zone. And so the tools you use, like meditation, what else? I mean, exercise,
meditation, eating properly.
Right.
That is another thing for me. Like, if you want your mind right, you got to get your body right. It goes hand in hand. Your mind, your body, your spirit. You have to get it. You have to, start eating properly. And the unfortunate thing is, most people know that the food that they're eating is not good for them. It's actually killing you. Most people know. Most people will say, I know that this particular thing in. I'm gonna try to look for
French fries.
French fries,
or
the aspartame, or the oil or whatever. They know that it's not good for them, but you still eat it. Why? But why?
You think it's because of the brainwashing or the mind control mechanisms?
It's because people do not realize their power.
Okay.
Because if you're accustomed to something, unless you realize your power within yourself, you're not going to be willing to step outside of it. So that's why I always tell, for me, it's always looking within. It's one thing you have knowledge and yada, yada, yada. You will not be able to use that knowledge to change yourself and change the world, because one person changing himself will change the world. It will ripple out. It will affect the world. It changes the vibration of the collective vibration of the planet, etc. So unless you look inside, and it all starts with looking within.
And I love how you keep saying that, because its source is within. It's not outside of you.
For sure.
And you have to know your power, because again, people will look at the situation that's going on in the world. People know, they don't have faith in the government, they don't have faith in this, that, and that, but then they just sit back and just allow it to, just go with the tide. Yeah, whatever,
go with the flow.
whatever happens. But people that know their power, they don't.
Control.
It's not to say you're going to be violent, because I don't advocate that. But people that really know their power,
yes,
they're very proactive.
Okay, let me answer this question quickly. The kids, we have a future. We find right now that we're complaining that the kids are they're not disciplined, they're not following the normal rules of etiquette.
They're just getting worse.
It's getting worse.
Yeah.
So I'm asking, do the kids set the rules? Because basically adults set the standard for the kids to follow. And we see our society has gone so far now that we don't know. It seems like the scriptures, I remember my grandmother always used to tell me from a biblical perspective that in times to come, what's going to be wrong is going to be seen to be right, and what's right is going to seem wrong. I'm looking around today, CC.
It's happening.
It's happening.
Sure.
Everything that was ever prophesied, everything that I heard these people, even if I wasn't a believer in Christianity or Islam or Buddhism or Jainism or Zoroastrianism or Rastafarianism or any of the others, you know what I mean? I have no choice now but to open my eyes and say something is definitely going on, and my concern is with the kids, the youth. And if we don't put this, I remember my grandmother, again, I gotta give thanks to God for that lady. Back in the day, she said, if we don't make a sacrifice, if someone doesn't make a sacrifice, because Christ made a sacrifice for us, the world will not get any better. And I think our generation needs to sacrifice the luxuries, the vanities,
exactly,
right now, so that we can set a better example for the next generation.
Exactly.
What are your views? Because I know you have a beautiful son. You know what I mean, and he's our future. You know what I mean. We have to make sure that he's the next prince. He's the next king. As brothers with you. You know what I mean. He has a beautiful dad. He has a dad. He has a mom, but he also has uncles. That we have to put these things in place for him. And so tell me, Cici, what do you think right now? Our females, our males, what do you think we need to do as a society to help bring our youth back in alignment?
Stop blaming society, because we are society. Stop blaming society as if it's outside of you. It's you too, because if you're voting, you are the problem. Right. Don't complain about the government if you're voting. Don't complain about don't complain about these things if you're contributing to it.
Yes.
You have to. And again, it comes back to, you have knowledge, but you have to live it. That's how you're going to affect change. So if you've gotten that knowledge, you really have to live it. Like my son, for instance, this morning I actually dropped him off at camp, and when I was leaving, the auntie, she came and she was like, she said they were talking about milk, cow's milk and stuff like that, because he's at her language camp learning a different language, and they were talking about milk and how good it is or whatever, and she said, my son said, cow's milk is for cows.
Brilliant, you see? He's
5. He's 5.
And he knows.
He's like, cow's milk is for cows. And she was like, thumbs up, like, keep doing it. Good. Because we admit and we know that kids are sponges, so you can't have the philosophy, do as I say and not as I do, because the kids are watching, and they're going to emulate what we do.
So we can definitely then affect.
So you have to live it. 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 And one thing that I always tell my son that I feel is missing, I tell my son to love himself. When he talks about who he loves, do you love yourself? I have, I encourage him to go in the mirror and look at his features. Love yourself. Because, again, it starts with you. If you love yourself and you have that confidence, you're not going to be led by other people.
Right,
you're not going to be following our party matrix just because, you're going to, think for yourself.
Yes.
You understand? So it's stuff like that. You don't show the children that you just go with the flow just because. There's nothing wrong with being different. And that's the thing too. People always figure, I have to be like everybody else. So everybody now wearing Jordans. So not to say there's anything wrong with it, but the bottom line is, are you doing it because everybody else doing it?
Yeah. Do you really like them, or you want?
Do you really need it? Do you really? think that it's necessary to spend, I don't know, $300-400. I don't know.
That's what it is right now, apparently.
Exactly. So it's like there's nothing wrong with being different. Like, you know how strong and courageous you have to be different.
Well, let me say this quickly. I was doing some research the other day on crop over, for instance, right? And this is a question that I always ask, because we're talking about thinking and being different. Apparently, back in the day, there was a ritual that went on where the plantation owners went out before the what we call the captives, what we call slaves, and then after that the captives had the opportunity then to party and have a day of revelry because the crop was over. And I say it dawned on me the other day, but Glenn, this is the same thing that goes on today. That ritual hasn't changed. So when I see all my intelligent friends, I know these guys are intelligent, these girls are intelligent, participating and then they would come and reason consciously with me about things are bad and the oppression of people and how unfair this and one corporation taking control over the masses and controlling the people, but yet you participate in a ritual that every year represents that.
Right, cause it solidifies like the whole event. It solidifies the whole event as like things happening over and over again, and then keeping control of the whole way with the blue box cat band first.
Yeah,
I don't know if it still happens because I know when it was really strange to see the connection between the two things. We're that same ritual, and then you got.
But we know this. But there is a ceremony signifying the last king. But we know this. This is nothing that is hidden. So.
What's the celebration, right? Is it
exactly to me though? I feel like what I've learned is music is part of our healing.
Right.
Music is part of our healing. Music is mathematical and it's scientific.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes. Sonic geometry.
Yes. Cymatics is vibration, is energy. So music is part of us. It has to be in our life.
Yes.
To me, it's nothing wrong with, you're going out and enjoying yourself. But if it is, you are doing things like, for argument's sake, you go and take out a loan to participate in crop over. But, you have other things that need attending to.
Yes.
Or, it becomes your focus. It becomes everything. Things happening in the world and you would read about it, hear about it. Oh, that's sad. Moving on to the next fact.
Yes,
really?
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what it is, CC. It's like there's no major concern with these things. It's like they're brain dead, like zombified people. You hear these things, you see these things, but hey, who cares? Let's keep partying. I mean, not that you can, we can't do anything about it, but at least you can do something about transforming yourself. Because again, the metaphysics states that once you change, like you just said it, one person can change with that ripple effect, change a lot of things. By just thinking the right thought.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And guys at home, this is a sister. You don't normally hear sisters right now, and it's like we don't find many sisters that are thinking. The Bible says a virtuous woman is hard to find. I don't believe that. I think virtuous women are there. I think they're everywhere. I think every woman technically is a virtuous woman.
Of course.
For sure.
She doesn't, but she doesn't know herself.
She doesn't know herself.
She doesn't know herself, and that it comes back to that. And it's not to say that I have not been there. I have been the party animal, the drinker. You know what I mean? But I say too that people are existing, they're not living, and they use these things to fill the void that they feel. A lot of them don't even realize that they have a void, that they're trying to stuff it with partying and drinking and other things, but that's what they're doing. Okay. They're distracting themselves from the reality. And as you said, they actually say it, but then they still don't realize it. They say, okay, the world is in such a bad state, I'm just going to party and enjoy myself, ignore it. But that's what you're doing. You're trying to fill that void that you feel or distract yourself from certain things, but it's not going to work.
I quite agree.
It's not going to work.
Selena, we need more. My view is that we need more groups of women together to come out and speak out a lot more. I see a lot of my sisters are being misled right now, misdirected right now. I find that the beauty of the woman, the potential of the woman, the power of a woman is not even being most women don't know their potential.
No.
They don't know
let's
go physical. Pain threshold is superior to the males. The lower body strength is superior to the males. The blood pressure and blood type is more potential. The bone density is more potential, greater than the male. The brain size is greater than the male, and the female can bring forth life from any dimension into this one. So when we look at the potential of what a woman is, what the womb man, because all man, male and female of the man, but the wombed man is a very, 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 very unique and extraordinary being. And once we teach our males, look at what you have as a counterpart. Your female, the female is an amazing.
And that's very important that you said counterpart, because you were asking me about how I feel about men and women and stuff like that, and I feel that the distraction has been for a long time the division in or of the genders, where it's more a competitive energy now. I see it so often on my timelines and with people that are contacts, men bashing women and women bashing men. It's such a state of competition rather than collaboration, cooperation, realizing that we complement each other, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Even within ourselves as an individual, you have two hemispheres, which are male and female, which
yes.
That's how you function as one individual, using your left brain and your right brain. Correct. Which encompass female energy and male energy. So even that within itself should show you that men aren't supposed to do without women, and women aren't supposed to do without men. It's not supposed to be a competition. Because imagine your brain, your left hemisphere of your brain competing with the right hemisphere. Like, what kind of existence would you have? Like, could you actually survive or function like that? So I find, to me, it's really sad that's the scenario that we're faced with now, even when it comes to male-female interactions and stuff. So it trickles down to the kids, because I find females now, because there are so many of us have been raised by single mothers. If you have daughters, you're going to raise your daughter to be an independent woman, because if she's faced with raising her own children on her own, which is a likelihood, unfortunately, she has to be able to deal with it. She has to be strong. She has to, let go of that natural emotional side.
Yes.
Because a woman being emotional is, she's called all kind of derogatory things, even though, yes, we don't know ourselves, and sometimes women, the emotions kind of get out of hand, but we are naturally supposed to be emotional. That's how we're supposed to be. So
sensitive.
Exactly, sensitive and nurturing. So the single mother is going to raise her daughter to almost ignore that side of herself. You have to be strong, you have to show no weakness, and you have to be independent, not interdependent, but you have to be independent, and you have to be able to be on your own. Instead of collaboration, is competition. Correct. And then males now, I guess y'all would have to speak about from your own perspective, because I'm not a dude.
No, but for me, our socialization has been always made to see that the woman she's under you. That's from the beginning. If any most males are honest.
And objectified so much, especially now. Like, it's not a situation where people are not willing to be vulnerable.
Yes.
Everybody wants love. I don't care if you are the baddest man on the block. You want love. At the end of the day, bottom line, everybody wants love, but nobody is willing to show that vulnerability. So it's not okay for a guy, to come up and generally want to have a family and be able to express, especially black men, express his love for the woman that he chooses, even before you've gotten her, to get her, and after. It's not okay. You're it's seen as weakness, but that's strength though.
Okay.
So I find the breakdown in the male-female energy and dynamic is the bottom line for society, if you want to call it that.
But purpose, again, I find that today a lot of women, I hear women speaking of males, and the male is the purpose of a male is for money.
Money.
Mm-hmm.
And the purpose of a female is for sex.
And that is so
and it's a cycle.
sad.
And it's so sad.
You know, and it seems
It's
to be
so sad.
it seems to be it's permeating. It's like it's
It's so
festering
sad.
right now. Where I hear so many females just, if he ain't got nothing to give me, I don't want him no more. You know, I hear the males now wish he could do for me, and it's all sexual talk. If you see a woman, it's how I could get with her in a sexual way.
Exactly.
It's not what divinity that woman has. Could that woman help inspire me? She's inspirational to me.
You will not get a man thinking that way unless he knows that he is divine. Comes back to yourself. If a man don't know that he is a God and he is divine, how is he going to be able to
Proceed.
come to that intellectual, conclusion that a God is supposed to have a goddess?
Cause it's a systematic
So-
way of like. the
Unless
whole-
you know yourself, you ain't gonna know what you're supposed to get
have.
to
It's
have.
true.
You know
It's
what I
true.
mean?
It's true.
So it still always comes back to that. Know
It's a bit-
yourself, because you could live in this world of sex and money, but if you know the divine within you, you're in it but not of it.
It's true.
Right.
In this world, but not of this world.
Is a system where actually like you hearing the conversation here reason is like God is being broken down, the concept of God, as in like the two hemispheres and what's not doing and working together as one, is the systematic way of breaking down God, breaking down family. Like you separating from the minute.
Yeah.
From the minute place.
That's everything, That's
yeah.
not just human beings.
Right.
When you look at
Everything.
the separation of religion and
Right.
science,
Everything
is
separated, break it down to components.
Is fragmenting everything rather than seeing everything as a
As
whole,
one.
which is how it is supposed to be. Because magic, what people consider magic, is simply science that you cannot explain yet. Because
Manipulating forces.
if you had to bring somebody from the 17th century, but they would think that most of the technology we have is
Yeah,
magic,
it is
though.
magic.
Like
Yeah.
it's magic, like you're a
Wow.
sorcerer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like what people may consider to be magic or alchemy, spirituality, and when you put science with it and religion, philosophy, and astrology or cosmology and stuff like that, it's just fragmenting the whole. And that's part of the distraction and part of the matrix. The matrix.
For what you're saying, this is my understanding, CC, is that when you separate the left hemisphere from the right hemisphere, on what Ryan is saying, what Judah is saying, the male from the female, or the balance or equilibrium, you destroy what we consider God. Right? And I think that from what I'm hearing is that that's what's been happening right now. I think that they're trying to destroy the family. Most families, there's so many divorces.
Yes.
There's so many relationships on the right. It cannot be that all the men are bad or all the women are bad. It can't be that. And if people open their eyes, there must be some force that is causing separation and disharmony.
And it's not a red man with horns and a fork and a tail. I'm not sure how you describe it.
Yeah.
It's not. That is my belief. Everybody is free to have their belief, but by saying it is the devil, you're personifying air quotes negative energy.
Yes.
It's taking responsibility away from the individual as well.
Correct.
You don't know yourself.
Correct.
Because if you know yourself, you take responsibility for your actions. It's not somebody else do something to you. But really and truly, yes, you're going to react or you're going to have emotions. That's part of being human. That's part of the reason why we're here, to experience through the emotions, human emotions. But take responsibility for you. Ain't a devil come in and, I don't know, put any hand on you.
Making you
You know what I mean?
things.
Check yourself.
Check
yourself.
We got so much ahead of us right now as a people. We got so much coming. There's
So much.
economic stress coming on the planet that we can see that they're trying to set up for. I mean, all we can do is put our faith in what we call source, what people call God, and we need to practice this faith. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was trying to tell this friend of mine that it's so important to practice. Practice means building the spiritual strength, the mental strength.
Correct.
Because it's like going to the gym. If you don't physically go to the gym, you're not gonna build no muscle.
Yep.
You have to mentally put
Yep.
these thoughts into plan and keep it as a constant in your mind to actually manifest these the power of the mind. You have to control the mind. So right now, what we're gonna do, like I said, I mean, we're going on. I know we're gonna try to cut it down right now because we're gonna have her back because she's one of those voices that we need to hear. She has a lot to offer, guys. She's deep. You know what I mean? And I knew just scratching the surface now with CC. So what we want to do is that we're gonna make it short and sweet. We're gonna keep it tight with you today. It's the Glenn B Show along with my boy Ryan Judah Headley. You know, we have CC in with us today. She's one of our sisters. We're gonna try to get you guys together. We're gonna want more sisters to get involved. Again, action246.com at gmail.com. You can drop me an email and give me any of your comments. You can go on our Oshun's Way Facebook page and look at the information we have there. Also, you can leave us some comments if you like. And but we want you guys to get involved in trying to help us transform the consciousness of humanity, not just in Barbados right now, but across the planet, because we know www. You understand? The www to 666, sorry, World Wide Web. But we're gonna try to get out there and get this information to you guys. But we want you guys to participate. Help us to heal us. You understand? Help us to heal us, because that is what is important right now. So guys, peace, love, CC. Thank you so much for coming through, and I hope to see you again. She's a beautiful person. She's a fit person. She eats well. She's not just talking. This is not one that's just talking, my friends. She's living what she's saying to you guys. I want to thank my brother Ryan Judah Headley for being here. He's my loyal brethren for years, you know, and he inspires me and keeps me focused, to be honest. You know what I mean? And we want to thank the producers in the house, Xavier, my little lion, Xavier Benjamin, Zavix Production, Josh in-house. Want to thank the guys at Holder Studios for doing this production for us, guys. Well, thank you guys. Peace, love, and we are going to be back at you very soon. Peace. Thanks, guys.
Love and light.
Yeah, Ibashe or reading you.